Under the blazing golden sun of Santa Cruz, California, the rhythmic crash of ocean waves blended with the lively chatter of tourists. Maya Torres bent down to pick up a shimmering seashell from the sand, holding it up for the eager group gathered around her. "This is the ocean's most vivid proof of life," she said, her voice cutting through the wind. "And if you're lucky, tonight you might just see sharks doing the tango under the moonlight." The crowd erupted in laughter, some raising their phones for pictures, while Maya smirked, proud of her ability to entertain them, even if just for a fleeting moment. But her smile quickly faded as the phone in her denim shorts vibrated incessantly. She glanced at the screen, a message from her mother, Rosa. "Maya, come home right after the tour. Victor Langston agreed to meet you tonight. Don't disappoint me." Maya sighed and tossed the seashell back onto the sand, as if it were the source of all her troubles. Victor Langston, the arrogant rich boy, son of the real estate tycoon who owned half the southern coast. Her mother had mentioned him at least 100 times, as if he were the golden ticket to rescuing their struggling family tour business from debt. "Maya, are you okay?" a girl from the tour group asked, noticing the shift in her expression. Maya forced a grin. "Of course! I just remembered I have to face the biggest wave of my life tonight." The group laughed again, but in her heart, that wave was Victor, a man who flaunted his billion-dollar yacht and wanted nothing more than a well-mannered trophy wife to boost his image. "I'd rather marry the ocean itself than that guy," she thought bitterly. By the time the tour ended, the sun had dipped below the horizon, painting the sea in brilliant hues. Maya waved goodbye to the group, then collapsed onto the sand, pulling out a cold water bottle from her backpack. But no matter how refreshing the drink was, her mind kept circling back to her mother's message. Rosa had been calling all week, her voice a mix of pleading and pressure. "If you don't marry Victor, the company will go bankrupt, and your little brother won't go to college. Do you want the whole family to end up on the streets?" Maya loved her mother and adored her brother, but the thought of being Victor's wife made her skin crawl. She took a sip of water, watching the waves roll in, and muttered, "I'd rather be a shark than a decorative doll." Her phone buzzed again. This time it was a call. Maya hesitated but answered. Rosa's voice came through immediately, firm and unyielding. "Maya, Victor will be at the house at 7 tonight. You need to dress nicely, smile, and for God's sake, don't say anything ridiculous like you always do." Maya gritted her teeth. "Mom, I don't want to marry that guy. He treats women like accessories and only cares about his damn yacht." Rosa sighed heavily on the other end. "You don't understand. The company is tens of thousands in debt. Victor is our last chance. What do you expect me to do?" Maya tightened her grip on the water bottle until the plastic crinkled. "What about me, Mom? Do I have to spend my whole life with a guy like him just so you can be debt-free?" There was silence for a moment, then Rosa's voice softened. "I just want what's best for you. Victor is wealthy. You'll never have to struggle again." Maya let out a bitter laugh. "Best for me or best for you? I don't need his money. I need my freedom." She hung up before her mother could reply and threw the phone onto the sand as if it were Victor himself. By now the sun had disappeared completely, leaving behind a deep purple sky dotted with early stars. Maya sat alone, listening to the waves, her heart heavy. She thought of her brother, 16 years old, obsessed with surfing, dreaming of college. She didn't want to take away his future, but she also couldn't sacrifice her entire life. Then suddenly an idea struck her, wild, but just crazy enough to work. She remembered something Lucy, her best friend from the beachfront cafe, had once said. "Victor hates easy women. He only marries the perfect pure type." Maya smirked. "If I ruin myself a little, he'll run for the hills." She jumped to her feet, brushing the sand off her shorts, her eyes gleaming. "Yes, I'll sleep with some random guy, then shove it in Victor's face that I'm not pure enough to marry him." The idea was reckless, ridiculous, and entirely unhinged, but to Maya it was her only way out. She rummaged through her backpack, pulling out a cold beer left over from earlier, a little self-reward after a long day. "I need some liquid courage," she muttered, popping the cap and taking a long sip. Then she strolled down the beach, eyes scanning for a target. Despite the late hour, Santa Cruz Beach was far from deserted. The distant strumming of a guitar from a group of hippies, the scent of grilled meat from a roadside stand, and a few silhouettes of night surfers still gliding across the waves filled the air with life. Maya stepped over the scattered beer bottles, mumbling to herself, "Just find someone. Doesn't need to be handsome, doesn't need to be rich, just willing to help." She giggled at her own absurd plan, feeling the alcohol buzz settle in. Then she stopped. Under the dim glow of the moon, a surfer was struggling with a battered surfboard, cursing softly as his screwdriver slipped into the sand. His wet, tousled hair stuck to his forehead, and his damp t-shirt clung to his well-built frame. Not bad, probably good enough to scare Victor away. Maya took another swig of beer, then strode over and called out, "Hey, mister, the board can wait till morning. How about a drink instead?" The guy looked up, his deep brown eyes catching the moonlight, surprised. Then he smirked, flashing a perfect set of teeth. "Are you planning to finish that bottle alone, or are you offering me a sip?" Maya shrugged and handed it to him. "Up to you, but if you're free, I have a favor to ask." He took a sip, watching her curiously. "A favor? What kind of favor makes you hunt down a surfer in the middle of the night?" Maya grinned, slightly tipsy. "Sleep with me for a night. I need a reason to ditch some yacht-loving asshole." He choked on his beer, coughing and staring at her wide-eyed. "Excuse me, what?" Maya crossed her arms, smug. "You heard me. I'm being forced into marriage, and you are my way out. Deal or no deal?" He stared at her for a moment, then suddenly burst out laughing, a deep, amused chuckle that drowned out even the crashing waves. "Are you drunk or just insane?" he asked. Maya stepped closer, jabbing a finger at his chest. "Both, but I'm serious. Help me, and I'll owe you one." He shook his head, still chuckling. "You're the craziest woman on this beach. I'm Ethan, and I'm not sure I want to be part of this mess." Maya plopped down onto the sand beside him. "I'm Maya, and you don't have to actually do anything. Just pretend. Easy, right?" Ethan eyed her, his gaze flickering with amusement. "Pretend, huh? All right. But you have to tell me everything first. I don't like playing husband without context." Maya laughed, then started from the beginning, the money-hungry mother, the yacht-obsessed Victor, and her desperate, crazy escape plan. The ocean waves continued their steady rhythm, and under the moonlit sky, two strangers made a deal that neither of them realized would change their lives forever. Welcome to Soul Stories. Life can be overwhelming, but here we share heartfelt tales to bring you peace, joy, and inspiration. Your support, every comment, like, and follow means the world to us. It motivates us to create more meaningful and uplifting stories just for you. Did our latest story touch your heart? Leave a "I am happy" in the comments if you agree. Subscribe now and be part of a community that spreads love, kindness, and positivity. Let's make every day a little brighter, together. Chapter 1, Stranger on the Beach. The moon hung high over Santa Cruz, casting a silver glow on the ocean, turning the waves into a shimmering, endless carpet of light. Maya flopped down onto the sand next to Ethan, the beer bottle in her hand already half empty, her mind floating somewhere between a tipsy haze and the thrill of her own reckless plan. Ethan, the tousle-haired surfer still dripping with seawater, leaned back on his hands, watching her like she was the lead in some absurd comedy show. "All right, keep going," he said, his voice deep and laced with curiosity. "I want to hear the whole story before I decide whether or not to be your fake husband." Maya smirked, pointing a finger at his chest. "Fine, but you have to promise not to laugh again. I don't want you spitting beer in my face twice." Ethan burst out laughing, his voice carrying over the crashing waves. "I make no promises. You just asked a complete stranger to sleep with you to escape an arranged marriage. How am I not supposed to laugh?" Maya shot him a glare, but couldn't stop the corner of her lips from curling up. "Just wait. We'll see who laughs last." She took one final sip of her beer, then started her tale. "My family runs a small tour company, family-style business, you know? Whale watching, surfing lessons, that kind of thing. But the past few years have been rough, and we're drowning in debt. My mother, Rosa, thinks the only way to save it is to marry me off to Victor Langston. You know him? The rich guy who owns half this beach? Ethan raised an eyebrow. Rich? Owns a yacht, probably a mansion too. Let me guess, he's got an ego bigger than a hurricane wave? Maya scoffed, picking up a seashell and chucking it into the water like it was Victor himself. Bigger. I bet he spends half the day admiring his six-pack in the mirror. Ethan nodded solemnly. Classic villain material. Does he have a mustache to twirl too? Maya snorted. No, but I wouldn't be surprised if he practices evil laughs in his free time. Ethan grinned. And how exactly is your mom forcing this marriage on you? Maya let out a sigh, her tone bitter. She says if I don't marry him, the company will go under. My little brother won't be able to go to college. I love my family, but Victor, he just wants a pretty, obedient wife to sit on his yacht and look good. I'd rather be a shark and bite his damn leg off. Ethan burst out laughing again, this time no beer spray, but he clutched his stomach, rolling onto the sand. You, Maya Torres, are the fiercest tour guide I've ever met. Maya crossed her arms, but there was a playful glint in her eyes. Are you done laughing yet? Because this is the important part. My friend told me Victor hates easy women. He only wants a perfect, innocent wife. So I figured, if I just, ruin myself a little, sleep with someone and throw it in his face, he'll run for the hills. Ethan sat up straight, his gaze locking onto hers. And I'm the first poor bastard you picked? Maya nodded, completely unfazed. Yep, you seem decent enough. You're available. It's perfect. Ethan shook his head, half amused, half baffled. You've got guts, I'll give you that. But what if I say no? Maya shrugged, standing up and dusting the sand off her shorts. Then I'll find someone else. This beach isn't exactly short on surfers. She turned to walk away, but Ethan was quicker. His hand shot out, catching her wrist. Hold on. His voice had a hint of panic. You're really just going to find some other random guy? Maya spun back around, grinning. Of course. I don't joke about my freedom. Ethan studied her for a moment, then chuckled. This time a warm, genuine laugh rather than one of disbelief. Fine, you win. I'll help you. But I'm not actually sleeping with you. I'm not that kind of guy. Maya raised an eyebrow, folding her arms. Are you rejecting me? I mean, I'm not Miss Universe, but I've got curves in all the right places. She stood up straighter, tilting her hips just a little, a teasing glint in her eyes. Ethan blinked, his ears turning red for half a second before he smirked. Not rejecting, just not taking advantage of a drunk woman. Don't scare me like that. Maya threw her head back, laughing before clapping him on the shoulder. All right, fine, no pressure. But if you're saying no, how exactly do you plan to help? I need proof. Ethan's smirk widened as he stood up, stretching his arms like an actor about to take the stage. Easy. We fake it. You spread the story, I back it up. Soon, everyone in Santa Cruz will believe you spent the night with this charming surfer. Maya's jaw dropped before she burst into laughter. You're a genius, but you better be convincing, or my mom will have me on Victor's yacht by morning. Ethan extended a hand. Deal, fake bride. Maya grinned and shook it firmly. Deal, fake husband. Their laughter mixed with the ocean breeze, as if even the waves approved of their ridiculous plan. But the alcohol had started to hit, and Maya felt her legs wobble beneath her. She dropped back onto the sand, propping herself up with one arm. Hey, she murmured, her voice slightly slurred. Are you really Ethan, or did you just make up that name to mess with me? Ethan sat down next to her, picking up the empty beer bottle. Real, Ethan Caldwell. And you? Maya Torres. I assume that's not some tourist trap alias. Maya giggled. Nope, 100% real. I'm a tour guide, not an actress. Ethan leaned back on his hands, glancing at her. So why not just run away? Hawaii, maybe. Wouldn't that be easier than this? Maya lay back on the sand, staring up at the starry sky. Because of my mom. She's struggled enough. And my little brother, he dreams of being an engineer. I won't let him lose that chance. But I also won't let myself become Victor's trophy wife. So, here we are. Ethan nodded, his voice quieter. You're crazy, but you've got a good heart. That's rare. Maya turned her head to him, smirking. And you? A surfer who talks like a poet. What's your deal? Ethan shrugged, looking back at the waves. Just prefer the ocean over an office. My life's complicated, but tonight's not the time for that. He grinned. Drunk stories never come out right. Maya was about to respond when a sudden wave crashed onto the shore, spraying them both with cold water. She shrieked, jumping to her feet. Ugh, now I'm soaked. Ethan, now just as wet, laughed. Looks like the ocean wants in on your plan. Maya glared at him, but ended up laughing, shaking the water from her arms. All right, husband, what now? Ethan ruffled his wet hair. Now we act. But you're drunk and you're not driving home. My tent's over there, crash for the night. We'll deal with the rest in the morning. Maya's eyes widened. A tent? You're making me sleep with sand rats? Ethan grinned. Relax, I keep it clean. Sand rats fear me. Maya sighed, then nodded. Fine, but you sleep outside. I don't trust fake husbands yet. Ethan smirked. Fair, but if you snore, I will tell the entire beach. Maya opened her mouth to argue, but before she could, she stumbled and landed right in Ethan's arms. Well, that's convenient, Ethan muttered, catching her. Maya mumbled sleepily, just pretend you're my husband for one night, before passing out. Ethan chuckled, shaking his head. You are by far the weirdest girl on this beach. Little did he know, this one night would change both their lives forever. Chapter 2. The rumor spreads. The bright morning sun filtered through the moss in the canvas tent, hitting Maya Torres square in the face, making her mumble a string of curses in her groggy state. She rolled over, trying to bury her face into the sleeping bag, but the scent of grilled fish drifted into her nose, and her stomach growled in protest. Damn it, she groaned, sitting up and rubbing her eyes, only to realize she was not in her cozy little room by the beach, but in a makeshift tent, with sand clinging to her hair and clothes. Outside, Ethan Caldwell crouched over a small makeshift fire pit, flipping pieces of freshly caught mackerel in an old skillet. Hearing the rustling from the tent, he turned and smirked. Well, look who's finally up, the drunk bride herself. I was starting to think you were fighting the waves in your sleep. You snored so loud, I swear you scared the fish away. Maya shot him a glare, her voice hoarse from last night's beer. Hilarious, but for the record, I do not snore. Ethan let out a deep laugh and held out a skewer of grilled fish. Oh yeah? Then who kept me up all night? Go on, eat. Gotta recover before we get to your wild night story. Maya grabbed the skewer, took a bite, and her eyes widened at the rich, smoky, salty flavor. Not bad. A surfer who can cook. Impressive. She chewed hungrily, savoring the taste. Ethan shrugged, plopping down on the sand beside her, his face still dusted with a hint of sea salt. When you live on the beach, you learn to survive. But what about you? Now that you're sober, do you remember anything from last night? Maya froze mid-chew, then widened her eyes in panic. She patted herself down frantically, checking that all her clothes were still intact. Wait, nothing happened, right? She asked, her voice a little shaky. Ethan chuckled, his eyes gleaming with amusement. Relax, I don't take advantage of drunk girls. You just passed out, called me husband, and slept like a rock. But if you want people to believe something else, I'm happy to lie. Maya let out a long breath before bursting into laughter, playfully punching his arm. You're a lifesaver. All right, make something up. Make it wild. I want Victor to be so freaked out, he never comes near me again. Ethan grinned and handed her another skewer of fish. Deal, but eat first. If you pass out again, I am not catching you. After their simple breakfast on the beach, Maya felt more like herself, though the slight pounding in her head remained. She brushed off the sand from her shorts and stood up. Thanks for the fish and the tent, but now it's time for me to launch Operation Wedding Wrecker. Ethan got to his feet as well and tossed her a bottle of water from his bag. Be careful. If your mom finds out I'm the home wrecker, she might drown me in the ocean. Maya grinned. Don't worry, I've got it covered. Just be ready to back me up when needed, fake husband. Ethan winked. You got it, drunk wife. Maya left the beach with a rush of excitement, her mind spinning with the brilliance of her plan. Santa Cruz was a small town, She knew all it would take was a few carefully placed words to today's tour group, and the rumor would spread like a tidal wave straight to Rosa's ears. Smirking, she strolled into the beachfront cafe where her best friend Lucy was drying glasses behind the counter. "Lucy, you won't believe what I did last night," Maya declared, plopping down onto a stool, her voice buzzing with mischief. Lucy paused mid-wipe, tilting her head at Maya. "Please don't tell me you jumped into the ocean chasing sharks again." Maya burst out laughing, shaking her head. "Nope, way better. I slept with a surfer. Wild night, right on the beach." Lucy's eyes widened so much she nearly dropped the glass. "What? Were you drunk or just insane? Who the hell did you—" Maya leaned in, lowering her voice like she was sharing a deep secret. "Ethan, hot, messy-haired surfer. I was tipsy, dragged him into a tent, and, well, you know." Lucy clapped a hand over her mouth before bursting into laughter. "Oh my God, Maya, you're a legend. But why?" Maya shrugged, feigning nonchalance. "To get rid of Victor. He hates bad girls." "Well, guess what? I'm officially bad now. You need to spread the word. Tell today's tour group I went wild with a surfer last night." Lucy's eyes gleamed with excitement. "Oh, I love this. I'll make sure the story gets extra spicy. But you do realize Rosa is going to kill you, right?" Maya grinned, her confidence unwavering. "I want her to find out. The sooner the better." Sure enough, the rumor spread faster than a beach bonfire. By midday, all of Santa Cruz was buzzing. Maya Torres spent the night with a surfer. Lucy's afternoon tour group retold the wild night story with increasingly exaggerated details, howling under the moon, shaking tents, and scandalous whispers carried by the wind. The fish vendors near the pier caught wind of it, and soon even the hippie guitars crew from last night was talking about Maya's reckless beach romance. By late afternoon, as Maya was helping her mother clean up at their small, family-run tour office, Rosa stormed in, her face burning red, phone clutched in her hand as if she were about to throw it. "Maya Torres!" Rosa's voice thundered through the tiny office, drowning out the whirring of the old printer in the corner. "What have you done? The whole town is saying you spent the night with some random surfer. Are you trying to kill me with shame?" Maya set down the rag she was using to wipe the counter and turned around, arms crossed, chin lifted. "So what, Mom? I'm not innocent anymore. Victor will never want me now. Isn't that great?" Rosa slammed her hand onto the counter, her eyes blazing. "Great? You think ruining your reputation is the way out? Victor is our last chance." Maya's stance remained firm. "Mom, I'm not some doll you can sell to Victor. He wants a perfect, obedient wife. I'm not that girl. Last night with the surfer, it's done. Over." Rosa gasped, clutching her chest. You actually did it? Have you lost your mind?" Maya smirked. "Lost it or found it. Either way, it's over, Mom. Once Victor hears, you can stop forcing this marriage on me." Rosa pointed a trembling finger at her. "You will go home. Now I'm calling Victor tonight. You're not getting out of this." But Maya was always one step ahead. She knew Victor wouldn't let go so easily, so while Rosa turned away to dial his number, Maya slipped outside and fired off a text to Lucy. "Turn up the heat. Tell everyone I'm meeting the surfer again tonight." Lucy replied instantly. "Oh, I'm making you the queen of wild nights. Consider it done." Maya grinned, feeling the rush of freedom in her veins, though she knew the real storm was yet to come. And she was right. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, Victor Langston stormed into the tour office, his expression dark as thunderclouds. Dressed in a sharp white suit that only highlighted his ever-present arrogance, he exuded the confidence of a man who thought the world bent to his will. Rosa rushed forward, her tone sugary sweet. "Victor, you're here. Maya was just—" Victor held up a hand, silencing dear. His cold eyes locked onto Maya, who stood casually against the wall, sipping a can of soda like she couldn't care less. "Torres," Victor growled, his deep voice laced with warning. "I heard you spent the night with some surfer. Is this real, or just some pathetic stunt?" Maya pushed off the wall, stepping closer, her smirk unwavering. "Oh, it's very real. Hottest guy on the beach. Tall, messy hair, surfs like a god. We rocked that tent last night. Think you can handle that, Langston? Victor's jaw clenched, his fists tightening at his sides. You actually did it? You think I'd still marry someone like you? Maya burst into laughter, eyes flashing with defiance. I never wanted to marry you in the first place. I'm ruined, Victor. You want a good girl? Go find someone else. Rosa gasped. Maya, stop. But Victor had already turned away, practically snarling as he stormed toward the door. You'll regret this, Torres. I don't need trash like you. His polished shoes stomped across the wooden floor before he slammed the door behind him. Silence filled the office. Rosa slowly turned to face her daughter, her expression a mixture of rage and sheer disbelief. Maya, what have you done? Maya tossed her empty soda can into the trash and stretched her arms behind her head, grinning. I won, Mom. Victor's gone, just like I said. Then, without another word, she strolled out the door, breathing in the salty ocean air, feeling lighter than she had in years. But what Maya didn't realize was that the wild night rumor was just the beginning, and that soon a certain surfer, one she thought was just a pawn in her plan, would end up pulling her into a whirlwind she never saw coming. Chapter 3. The Secret Revealed. 3 days after Victor Langston stormed off in rage, Maya Torres felt like she had won the lottery. She lounged in the old armchair inside her family's tour company office, feet propped up on the desk, a cold soda can in hand, humming a made-up song about freedom. No yacht, no Victor, just the ocean and me. Across the room, her mother, Rosa, was busy sorting through a messy pile of overdue invoices, occasionally shooting Maya a mix of frustration and helplessness. But Maya didn't care. She had won, at least for now. Are you planning to laze around all day? Rosa grumbled, holding up a stack of bright red debt notices. Victor's gone, but the company is still drowning. Maya took a sip of her soda, unfazed. Mom, I got rid of that guy. Now it's your turn to figure out another solution. Just leave me out of it. Rosa sighed, setting the papers down. Her tone softened. I know you didn't like Victor, but I found another way. Stay home tonight. Someone important is coming to meet you. Maya bolted upright so fast her soda nearly slipped from her hand. Someone important? Don't tell me it's another Langston. Rosa smirked mysteriously. Not quite. It's Ethan Caldwell, CEO of Caldwell Tech and a business partner of Victor's. He's interested in investing in our company, and I convinced him to consider you. Maya's eyes widened, her voice shooting up an octave. Consider me? Are you matchmaking again? Rosa waved a dismissive hand. No one's forcing you. Just meet him. If he likes you, the deal is secured. It's a small price to pay, Maya. Maya shot up from her chair, pointing an accusatory finger at her mother. You have got to be kidding me. I just escaped one rich guy, and now you're throwing another at me? I refuse to be some decorative wife again. Rosa's face hardened. This isn't a joke, Maya. Caldwell Tech could save us. Be ready by 7. Wear something nice. No arguing. Maya opened her mouth to fight back, but Rosa had already walked off, leaving her standing there, soda can in hand, dumbfounded. She groaned. Unbelievable, she never gives up. An unwelcome surprise. At exactly 7 p.m., the doorbell rang. Maya sat stubbornly on the couch, dressed in an old t-shirt and ripped shorts, her way of silently protesting this ridiculous setup. Rosa practically sprinted to the door, her voice sugary sweet. Mr. Caldwell, please come in. Thank you so much for coming. Maya barely glanced up, but when she did, she nearly fell off the couch. Standing in the doorway was a very familiar figure. Ethan, the messy-haired surfer, now dressed in a crisp white button-down and tailored slacks, his signature smirk still firmly in place. He held out a small bouquet of wildflowers to Rosa. Mrs. Torres, a pleasure to meet you. Maya's jaw dropped. She stared at him like he was a ghost. Ethan turned to her, his blue eyes glinting with mischief, and winked so fast Rosa didn't notice. Maya, right? He said smoothly. Nice to meet you. For the first time. Maya clamped a hand over her mouth, trying so hard not to burst out laughing. Her face turned red as Ethan casually strolled inside. Rosa beamed, oblivious to Maya's internal struggle. Please, sit down, Mr. Caldwell. Maya, greet him properly. Maya got to her feet, still stunned. Uh, Hi. This is unexpected. Ethan took a seat, grinning. I agree. I heard you're one of a kind. Rosa clapped her hands eagerly. Exactly. My Maya may be a little wild, but she's wonderful. Victor left because of some silly rumors, but I told him he was making a mistake. Mr. Caldwell, you could make things right. Ethan tilted his head, pretending to be confused. Make things right? What do you mean? Rosa leaned in, lowering her voice conspiratorially. Victor said Maya spent the night with a surfer, which tarnished her reputation. But you, Mr. Caldwell, could fix that by marrying her. We need your investment, and you need a wife. It's a perfect match. Maya and Ethan locked eyes, both barely holding back their laughter. Her face burned, and he had to cough to keep from choking. Marry me, Maya shrieked, unable to contain herself. Mom, I am not marrying another CEO or a surfer. Ethan chuckled under his breath, then shrugged playfully. Well, if she's up for it, I don't mind. After all, we did spend the night together. Right, Maya? Maya gasped, her hands flying to her face. Stop making things worse! Rosa blinked in confusion. Wait, spent the night? You two know each other? Ethan quickly backtracked. No, I was joking. I heard the rumor, but I didn't take it seriously. Look, Mrs. Torres, I am willing to discuss business, but marriage, well, that's entirely up to Maya. He shot Maya a knowing glance, his eyes twinkling with mischief. Maya glared at him, heart pounding. Rosa, however, was thrilled. Wonderful. Then why don't you two get to know each other? Maya, take Mr. Caldwell upstairs to the guest lounge while I make some tea. She hurried off to the kitchen, leaving Maya and Ethan alone, in an awkward yet ridiculously amusing silence. Maya exhaled sharply, grabbing Ethan's wrist and dragging him toward the stairs. As soon as they were out of Rosa's sight, she whispered furiously, CEO, are you serious? Are you a surfer or a tech tycoon? Ethan grinned, following her up the stairs. Both. Ethan Caldwell, CEO of Caldwell Tech. I'm in Santa Cruz testing a new travel app, keeping a low profile so the press doesn't find me. Maya whipped around, jabbing a finger into his chest. And you didn't think to mention that when I was plotting my fake scandal? You let me believe you were some broke beach bum? Ethan chuckled, unbothered. You never asked. Besides, you were so drunk that night, I figured if I told you, you'd just pass out again. Maya groaned, covering her face. She was so screwed. Chapter 4. Clash of Fire and Water. They stepped into the small upstairs sitting room, where an old wooden table and framed family photos decorated the walls. Maya crossed her arms, staring at him. So, my mom wants you to marry me to save the company. What's your plan? Ethan sat down, smirking. You did ask me to be your husband that night. Changing your mind now is a bit late, don't you think? But don't worry, I'm not forcing you. It's just that Rosa has a point. The deal with Victor is still necessary and I can help. Maya's eyes widened. Help how? By marrying me? Are you insane? Ethan laughed. Not exactly. I convinced Rosa to let us get to know each other first. She agreed to let me stay here for a few days. To, play along. What do you think? Maya's jaw dropped. Stay here? With me? My mom actually forced you? Ethan nodded. Yeah. She said if I didn't to make it up to you, the deal would collapse. I had no choice. But don't worry, I'll sleep on the couch. Maya shook her head, chuckling in disbelief. You are officially the biggest headache I've ever had. And just like that, Ethan Caldwell moved in. By the unshakable command of Rosa Torres, he carried in a sleek black duffel bag, clearly something out of a CEO's office, not a beachside shack, and plopped it onto the worn-out sofa like it was a throne. I'm just a temporary guest, he announced with a lazy grin, eyes twinkling with mischief. Don't worry, I don't bite, unless you snore too loud. Maya glared at him, arms crossed. You better not, but if you mess up my house, I will throw you into the ocean for the sharks. Rosa, standing beside them, beamed as if she had just won the lottery. You two take your time getting to know each other. I know Mr. Caldwell is a good man. You're a perfect match. Getting to know Ethan, however, was anything but easy. In fact, it was like pouring gasoline on a fire. Sparks flying everywhere, neither one backing down. The next morning, Maya woke up early, stumbling into the kitchen in her oversized sleepwear, hair sticking out in every direction. She liked starting her mornings quietly, sipping coffee while gazing at the ocean through the window, letting the sound of the waves calm her. But Ethan was already there. He sat perched on the kitchen counter, laptop open, fingers typing away as if he were running the entire world from her tiny beach house. "Morning, snoring bride," he teased, not even looking up. His voice was smooth, like a radio host's. Maya's jaw clenched. She slammed the coffee pot onto the counter. "Stop calling me that! And who said you could turn my kitchen into your CEO office? This is where we eat, not where we run billion-dollar companies." Ethan finally glanced up, grinning. "I multitask, breakfast and business. While you're making coffee, be a dear and pour me a cup too." Maya scoffed. "In your dreams. Make your own." She turned away, but in her groggy state, her hand bumped into the steaming cup she had just poured, sending scalding hot coffee spilling all over Ethan's laptop. "Oh shit!" she yelped, grabbing a towel while Ethan lunged forward, eyes wide with horror. "You killed my company laptop," he groaned. "Do you have any idea how much that data was worth?" Maya winced, dabbing at the screen. "Oops, my bad. But it's your fault for leaving it in the kitchen. Who the hell brings a laptop into a place with coffee? Go sit on the sofa." Ethan snatched the towel from her hands, his voice low and exasperated. "Your sofa is hard as a rock. My back is destroyed. And you're the one with butterfingers, not me." Maya huffed. "Butterfingers? You've been the most annoying thing in my life since yesterday, and now you expect coffee service?" Ethan exhaled dramatically, then suddenly smirked. "All right, revenge time. I just updated my travel app. Guess what? I added you under the nickname Snoring Queen." Maya's eyes widened in horror. She snatched his phone and checked. Sure enough, under Santa Cruz tour guides, her name now appeared with the bio. Maya Torres, storytelling expert, professional moonlit snorer. She screamed, "Ethan Caldwell, you're dead to me!" She lunged for his laptop, but he was faster, raising it high above her reach like an older sibling, teasing a child. "Give it back," she growled, standing on her tiptoes. Ethan only grinned. "Not until you apologize for the coffee incident." Maya's glare could have melted steel. "Apologize? I'd rather apologize to the sharks." They chased each other around the kitchen, dodging chairs and countertops, until Rosa stormed in from the living room. "What are you two doing?" she demanded. Maya, breathless, pointed at Ethan. "Mom, he's harassing me." Ethan, still holding the laptop hostage, smirked. "Hey, she ruined my laptop first. I was just defending myself." Rosa shook her head, though her lips twitched with amusement. "See? I told you two would get along. This deal is as good as saved." She left, humming happily, while Maya and Ethan stood there, panting, fuming, but also grinning despite themselves. By the afternoon, another battle erupted, this time over the state of Maya's house. Maya thrived in organized chaos, seashells scattered on shelves, t-shirts draped over chairs, and books stacked haphazardly. Ethan, on the other hand, had an obsessive need for order, so naturally he decided to help tidy up, which was a huge mistake. He started rearranging her bookshelves, shoving all her treasured seashells into a storage box. Maya snapped, "What are you doing?" Ethan held up the box. "Cleaning up this mess. How do you even live like this? It looks like a wrecked gift shop." Maya yanked the box from his hands. "These are my memories. Don't touch my stuff. If you like things clean, go back to your office tower." Ethan crossed his arms. "My office is 100 times cleaner than this. You know what else? Your sofa is so uncomfortable it ruined my back." Maya shot him a smug grin. "Then go sleep on the beach where you belong." But as she turned away, Ethan slyly slipped a seashell into her back pocket. When she found it, she threw it at him. "You're such a child." Ethan just laughed, holding up his hands in surrender. "All right, truce, but admit it. I do make your life more interesting." Maya plopped down onto the couch, scowling at him. "You're the worst. Now I have to live with a fake husband/tech billionaire who's obnoxiously neat and loves teasing me?" Ethan sat across from her, winking. And I have to live with a snoring, clumsy, messy fake wife. Sounds fair. They both burst out laughing, the tension melting away. Though neither would admit it, this forced cohabitation was already starting to change something between them. Maya muttered, "Fine. If you don't break anything else, I'll let you stay another week." Ethan grinned. "Deal. Just don't spill coffee on me again." Between their constant bickering, laughter, and fiery clashes, they were unknowingly stepping into something far bigger than either of them had planned. Chapter 4. An Unexpected Love. Living with Ethan Caldwell in Maya Torres's small house felt like an endless wrestling match, full of bickering, laughter, and absurd situations. Maya was still annoyed about the coffee spill incident, while Ethan thoroughly enjoyed his revenge, updating his travel app with even more ridiculous nicknames for her, now featuring Senior Snoring Specialist alongside Moonlight Snorer Extraordinaire. But between all the teasing, something strange started happening. They got used to each other, like the waves instinctively returning to the shore. On the fourth morning, Maya woke up early and carefully brewed coffee, this time making sure not to spill a single drop on Ethan's things. He appeared soon after, his hair a mess, as if he had just rolled off the sofa, wearing an old surfing t-shirt and shorts. "Morning, snoring bride," he teased, his voice still thick with sleep. Maya shot him a glare and shoved a coffee cup into his hand. "Drink this and shut up. I don't have time to argue with you today." Ethan smirked, taking the cup. "No time, huh? Then why'd you make me coffee? Falling for me already?" Maya's face heated. She quickly turned away to hide her smile. "Dream on. I made it for my mom. You just got lucky." Rosa entered the kitchen at that moment, beaming. "You two are getting along so well. Ethan, are you free tonight? The company rented a boat to test your app. Maya is leading the tour. You should go with her." Maya's eyes widened. "Mom, I can lead a tour by myself." Rosa waved her off. "Nonsense. It's good for Ethan to experience it firsthand. He's the CEO, after all." Ethan grinned, clearly enjoying Maya's frustration. "I don't mind. A boat trip with Maya sounds fun." Sunset on the sea. That evening, Maya and Ethan boarded the small wooden yacht, not as extravagant as Victor's billion-dollar vessels, but charming in its simplicity. It carried a small group of tourists and a handful of crew members. The setting sun painted the Santa Cruz Ocean in fiery shades of orange, while the waves sparkled like molten gold. Standing at the railing, Maya demonstrated how to use Ethan's travel app, a navigation and experience guide for ocean activities. "Just tap here," she explained, holding up her phone. "It'll lead you to the best whale-watching spots. And if you get lost, just call me. But don't expect me to swim out and save you." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Ethan stood behind her, arms crossed, watching her with a glint in his eye. "You're good at this," he said when the tourists wandered off to take pictures. "If my app had you as a spokesperson, we'd be sold out in a week." Maya smirked. "Flattery won't get you a free endorsement. You still owe me a beer for that snoring stunt." Ethan laughed. "Fair. But first, how about some surfing? There are boards on the boat. I'll teach you." Maya tilted her head, eyes narrowing. "Surfing? You think I won't dare?" Ethan grinned. "Lead the way, CEO surfer." He guided her to the back of the boat, where a few surfboards were strapped down. Picking one up, he effortlessly jumped into the water, then held out a hand. "Jump in. I'll catch you." Maya hesitated for half a second before yelling, "You better not drop me." She leaped. The cool ocean engulfed her, and just as Ethan caught her, the force of the waves knocked them both over. They surfaced, laughing, drenched in seawater. "You call that teaching?" Maya sputtered, pushing her soaked hair out of her face. Ethan surfaced beside her, grinning. "You're just too heavy. I couldn't hold you up." Maya gasped before splashing water directly into his face. "What did you just say?" They chased each other in the waves, laughing as the salt water stung their eyes. Finally, Ethan retrieved the board and steadied it. "All right, stand up. I'll hold it steady. Just don't freak out." Maya wobbled onto the board, gripping his shoulders for balance. But just as she found her footing, a wave surged forward, sending her toppling, dragging Ethan down with her. They resurfaced, gasping for air between fits of laughter. I am never hiring you as a surf instructor, Maya choked out. Ethan grinned. Well, I'm never taking on a student who drowns her teacher. They swam back toward the boat, where the tourists clapped and cheered. Hauling themselves up onto the deck, they collapsed onto the wooden floor, clothes dripping and hair plastered to their faces. That was fun, Maya admitted, looking out at the endless horizon. Ethan sat beside her, his voice quieter than before. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had this much fun. Silence settled between them, broken only by the sound of waves and the distant laughter of the tourists. Maya turned to Ethan, curiosity flickering in her eyes. So why the whole surfer disguise? Don't CEOs like sitting in fancy offices? Ethan let out a slow breath, leaning back on his hands. The pressure, mostly. Caldwell Tech is my entire world, but sometimes I just need to disappear. The ocean makes me feel alive, not just like some guy in a suit stuck in endless meetings. Maya nodded in understanding. I get it. I love the ocean because it means freedom. My mom tried to force me into marrying Victor. I hated that trapped feeling. Ethan studied her, his gaze softer now. So that's why you came up with the whole sleep with a random guy plan? Maya laughed. Yep. Crazy but effective. What about you? You never did explain your so-called complicated life. Ethan shrugged. I used to think money and success were everything. But after living like a surfer, I realized I was happier this way. And then I met you, the craziest person on this beach. And that just confirmed it. Maya shot him a mock glare. Excuse me, who's crazy here? Ethan smirked. Not you, of course, just wildly unpredictable. She rolled her eyes but smiled. Well, thanks. For helping me, I mean. CEO or not, you're not the worst. They sat there under the moonlight, sharing stories. About the ocean, about dreams, about the parts of their lives where no one was forcing them to be something they weren't. Somewhere in the middle of it all, Maya forgot Ethan was a CEO or a fake husband. He was just Ethan, the guy who made her laugh, who didn't judge her, who somehow fit into her chaotic world like he belonged there. When the boat returned to shore, they were no longer just reluctant acquaintances. They were something more. The real turning point came the next evening when Rosa invited Ethan to dinner. Maya busied herself in the kitchen, making her favorite tacos while Ethan attempted to help, nearly cutting his fingers off in the process. You're officially the worst CEO I've ever met, Maya teased, yanking the knife from him. Ethan grinned. I run companies, not kitchens. Rosa walked in, catching them mid-laugh. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. You two are so close already. That makes me happy. After dinner, Rosa pulled Ethan onto the balcony for a very suspicious conversation. Maya, peeking through the window, watched as her mom patted his shoulder before returning with the biggest smile on her face. Maya, Rosa beamed. Ethan and I have come to a decision. You two should get married. That will save the deal with Victor. Maya nearly dropped the glass in her hand. What? Mom, I am not marrying anyone. Rosa waved off her protests. But you two get along so well. I see it. And Ethan agreed. Maya whipped around to face him. You what? Ethan held up his hands. I told her it was your decision. But Rosa's very persuasive. Maya gaped at him. You've completely lost it. Rosa jumped in. It's not crazy. I saw how close you two were on the yacht yesterday. The tourists even talked about it. This is perfect. You'll save the company and be a great couple. Maya's face burned. Close? We fell into the water, that's all. Ethan chuckled. To be fair, it was a very intimate fall. Maya was ready to die on the spot. Panicked, she grabbed Ethan's arm and dragged him out to the backyard. What the hell did you tell my mom? She demanded. I am not marrying you. Ethan's teasing grin faded. His voice was quieter this time. I didn't tell her anything, but she's not entirely wrong. Maya's stomach flipped. What do you mean? Ethan held her gaze. I like you, Maya, not because of the deal, not because of some fake engagement, but because of you. Because you're fearless, unpredictable, and the way you light up when you tell stories about the ocean. I've never met anyone like you. Maya froze, her heart slammed against her ribs. You. Like me? Ethan smirked. Don't look so shocked. I didn't plan on it, but here we are. She took a step back, shaking her head. No way, I don't do this. I don't fall for CEOs. Ethan grinned, stepping closer. I don't fall for tour guides either, but somehow you've got my heart racing anyway. They stood there beneath the dim glow of the backyard lights, so close she could feel his breath against her skin. His eyes flickered to her lips, and for a split second, she thought, Maya shoved him back, hard. Don't, she blurted, her voice shaky. I'm not ready for this. Ethan didn't look surprised. Instead, he just smiled softly. That's okay, I can wait. Maya turned away, heart pounding, trying to ignore the warmth spreading through her chest, because deep down she knew, whatever this was, it was already too real. Chapter 5, A Sweet Ending. That afternoon, under the golden light spilling over Santa Cruz Beach, Maya Torres sat on the wooden steps of her house, cradling a cold glass of orange juice. Her eyes lingered on the shimmering waves, lost in thought. Beside her, Ethan Caldwell sat barefoot in the sand, twirling a half-empty beer bottle between his fingers. Ever since that night when he had almost kissed her in the backyard, the air between them had become both softer and heavier, like the ocean itself, sometimes calm, sometimes surging with an unspoken current. You don't have to decide right now, Ethan said, his voice low and steady. He turned to her with patient eyes. I'll wait, as long as you need. Not for Rosa, not for the contract, just because I want you to be happy. Maya took a slow sip of her juice, smirking. Easy for you to say. You don't have to live with my mom. She's not waiting, Ethan. She's already planning the wedding like it's a package tour. Ethan chuckled, setting his beer down in the sand. Yeah, Rosa is enthusiastic. But I mean it, Maya. Take as long as you want. I won't rush you. He tilted his head, teasing. Even if that means enduring a few more years of your snoring. Maya splashed a few drops of juice at him. Mention my snoring one more time, and I'll drown you in orange juice. But then more softly she added, Thanks, though. Really. For a while they sat in companionable silence, just the sound of the waves rolling in and seagulls calling from afar. For the first time, Maya felt lighter. Ethan's patience was like a cool breeze against the pressure her mother had been piling onto her shoulders. But their peaceful moment didn't last long. The front door swung open, and out marched Rosa, looking determined, a thick planner in one hand, a red pen in the other. I've had enough, she declared, her voice cutting through the calm like a foghorn. Maya flinched. Oh God, what now? Rosa crossed her arms, her expression firm. Ethan says he'll wait, but I won't. The company needs the contract, your brother needs college tuition, and I need peace of mind before I die. So I've decided, the wedding is next week. Ethan choked on his beer. Maya shot to her feet. Next week? Mom, have you lost your mind? I'm not ready. Rosa jabbed her pen at a bold red date in her planner. Then get ready, next Saturday, at Coral Reef Restaurant. I already booked the venue. Ethan, you're in, right? If not, I'll call Victor back. Ethan immediately raised his hands in surrender. Mrs. Torres, I'm not against it, but maybe Maya should... He glanced at Maya, torn between amusement and concern. Maya whirled on him. Do not encourage her. Rosa ignored them both. You two have already been living together for a week, bickering like an old married couple. That's proof enough. I won't wait any longer. This wedding is happening. And with that, she turned on her heel and stormed back inside, leaving Maya and Ethan speechless on the steps. Maya collapsed onto the wood, burying her face in her hands. See? I told you she wouldn't wait. Ethan set his beer down and patted her shoulder. Well, we could get married next week, if you wanted. Maya slapped his hand away. Don't start. Ethan just grinned, shrugging. Okay, but if you do decide to run away, call me first. I do like Hawaii. Despite herself, Maya laughed. But inside, Rosa's ultimatum weighed on her like a rising tide. And for the first time, the thought of running didn't seem so crazy. The great escape. The night before the scheduled wedding, Maya stood in her dimly lit bedroom, staring at her old backpack, now stuffed with clothes, a few water bottles, and a one-way plane ticket to Hawaii. Her flight? 5 a.m., Monterey Airport. She took a shaky breath. This is the only way. Living with Ethan Caldwell, CEO, fake surfer, the man who had somehow flipped her world upside down, had left her completely tangled. That night in the backyard when he had almost kissed her, when he had said, "I like you," his words still echoed in her mind like crashing waves. And the worst part, she liked him back, more than she'd ever admit. But marriage, no way, not now, not yet. She zipped up her bag, glanced around her room one last time, the framed photo of her and her brother on the beach, the old coffee mug Rosa had glued back together. "Sorry, Mom," she whispered, "but I can't do this." She slipped out the back door, her bare feet silent against the wooden floor. She ran, past the house, past the dunes, straight to the quiet road leading to the highway. A rare late-night taxi rolled by, and she waved it down. She climbed in, heart pounding. "Monterey Airport, as fast as you can." The taxi sped down the coastal roads, streetlights flickering past Maya's face like fleeting ghosts. She clutched her backpack tightly, eyes locked on the window, repeating to herself, "Once I get on that plane, this will all be over." But deep inside, a strange emptiness crept in. Images of Ethan flashed through her mind. His stupid, carefree grin, the way he taught her to surf, his teasing, snoring bride remarks. She shook her head violently, muttering under her breath, Stop thinking. Freedom matters more." As the Monterey Airport appeared in the distance, its yellow lights glowing softly against the dark sky, Maya exhaled sharply. This was it. She paid the driver, slung her backpack over her shoulder, and stepped inside. The crisp, artificial coolness of the air conditioning sent a shiver down her spine. 4 a.m., 1 hour until takeoff. The check-in counter was nearly empty, just a few sleepy passengers and yawning employees. Maya pulled her hoodie over her head, walked briskly to the desk, and handed over her ticket. "Hawaii, 5 a.m. flight." The airline worker nodded, typed into the computer, then slid a boarding pass toward her. "Gate B3, proceed through security." Maya took a deep breath and moved toward the checkpoint, her heartbeat quickening as the boarding call echoed through the terminal. Just a few more steps. She placed her bag onto the conveyor belt, but just as she reached for her boarding pass, a familiar voice rang out behind her, a voice she never expected to hear here. "Maya Torres, are you seriously running away to Hawaii without me?" Her heart stopped. She whipped around, eyes wide. Standing there breathless, hair a disheveled mess, wearing a sweat-drenched surf t-shirt and holding a beat-up surfboard, was Ethan Caldwell. Maya clutched her chest, nearly dropping her boarding pass. What the hell are you doing here?" Ethan took a few steps closer, still panting, as if he had literally run from the beach to the airport. "I saw your window open. Your backpack was gone. Rosa said I should stay back and prepare for the wedding, but I knew you'd run. This was the closest airport, so here I am." He grinned, still catching his breath. "And look at that. I was right." Maya scowled, taking a step back. "You're insane. I'm leaving, Ethan. Don't try to stop me." Ethan set the surfboard down, his expression softening. "I'm not here to stop you. I just need to say something before you go." Maya crossed her arms. "What? That you regret not forcing me into this stupid marriage deal?" Ethan shook his head. He stepped forward, his voice steady, unwavering. "I'm here to tell you that I love you, Maya." Maya's breath hitched. Ethan kept going, eyes locked onto hers. "Not because of Rosa, not because of the contract, but because of you. You're wild, reckless, and the most frustratingly unpredictable person I've ever met. And somehow, in the middle of all your madness, you've made me happier than I've been in years." He lifted the surfboard and turned it toward her. Carved into the wood in rough but unmistakable letters was one word: Maya. "I did this yesterday," Ethan admitted, his voice quieter now, "because I didn't want to lose you." He set the board down gently. "And I'm not saying this as a CEO or some fake surfer. Just me, just Ethan, the guy who's completely, stupidly in love with you." Maya froze. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might burst. "You love me," she whispered. Ethan nodded. "Yes, I do." He took another step closer, so close she could smell the faint salt water on his shirt. "I won't force you to stay, But if you leave, I need you to know that. Maya stared at him, then at the surfboard, then back at him, and suddenly, she burst out laughing. The sound echoed through the nearly empty terminal, startling a security guard nearby. Ethan frowned. Wasn't expecting that reaction. Maya wiped a tear from her eye, still laughing. You are literally the most ridiculous CEO I've ever met. Who the hell confesses their love at an airport? With a surfboard? Ethan smirked, raising an eyebrow. Who the hell runs away from their own wedding to Hawaii? Maya exhaled, shaking her head, her smile lingering. Then for the first time she realized she didn't want to run anymore. Not from this, not from him. Fine, she said, her voice playful but certain. I'm not going to Hawaii. Ethan's face lit up. You're not? She grinned. Nope. You ruined my escape plan, you idiot. Ethan let out a loud whoop, laughing as he pulled her into his arms. Maya let herself sink into his embrace, her heart still racing. Thank you, he murmured against her hair, for staying. Maya pulled back slightly, her fingers still gripping his shirt. Let's get one thing straight. I'm not marrying you next week. Ethan chuckled. Deal, she smirked. But maybe, someday, if you're lucky. Ethan winked. I'll take my chances. Hand in hand, they walked out of the airport together, leaving behind the past, the doubts, the contracts, the expectations. And lying forgotten on the terminal floor, a crumpled plane ticket to Hawaii fluttered under the dim airport lights. Chapter 6. The Perfect Ending. After that fateful night at Monterey Airport, when Ethan Caldwell stopped Maya Torres from boarding a plane to Hawaii with a surfboard and a love confession, they returned to Santa Cruz hand in hand, as if she had never planned to leave at all. Rosa nearly fainted when she found out her daughter had tried to run away. But when she saw them walk through the door, eyes shining, laughter bubbling between them, she just sighed and muttered, Dios mío, these two. Fine, as long as they're happy. Ethan didn't propose immediately. He wanted Maya to say yes on her own terms. Not because of Rosa, not because of any contract. So they continued living in their little beach house, still bickering playfully, still driving each other crazy. But now between the teasing and the laughter, something had shifted. Mornings started with shared coffee instead of arguments. Sunset beers on the beach became routine. Late-night storytelling turned into whispered secrets, stolen glances, and the kind of quiet intimacy that neither of them dared to name just yet. One golden evening, with the Santa Cruz waves rolling lazily onto the shore, Ethan pulled Maya toward a quiet spot on the beach, near the very place where they had once fallen off a yacht together. He was in his usual worn-out surf tee, barefoot in the sand, carrying the surfboard, the same one he had carved her name into the night he stopped her at the airport. Come with me for a sec, he said, voice warm, his eyes dancing with mischief. Maya narrowed her eyes but followed him anyway, her bare feet sinking into the cool sand. If you're trying to teach me to surf again, I swear But she stopped, because Ethan wasn't holding a surfboard anymore. He was kneeling on one knee. Maya's heart stopped. From his pocket, he pulled out a small velvet box. When he flipped it open, a simple but dazzling diamond ring caught the last golden rays of sunset, shimmering like fire on the thin silver band. Ethan took a deep breath, his usual cocky grin replaced by something quieter, more real. Maya Torres, he said, his voice steady but just a little bit nervous. I don't have a yacht or a mansion, but I have the ocean, and I have this love. Marry me, not for Rosa, not for a contract, just because I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Maya froze for exactly 1 second. Then she burst out laughing, loud, carefree, utterly Maya, the kind of laugh that made Ethan fall for her in the first place. You're insane, she gasped between giggles. A diamond ring? I thought you only bought surfboards and beer. Ethan smirked but didn't budge from his knee. Says the girl who wanted to sleep with a random guy to get out of marriage. Yeah, I'm crazy. Crazy for you. He lifted the ring higher, eyes twinkling. Bought this last week, because you deserve more than just the ocean. Maya tried to suppress another laugh, but something in her softened when she saw the way he looked at her. The kind of look that made her knees weak, that made her realize she had stopped running long ago. She stepped closer, tugging him up by the collar of his shirt. "Fine, you idiot," she whispered, grinning. "I'll marry you, but don't expect me to be some fancy CEO wife." Ethan grinned, slipping the ring onto her finger. "Deal, but you're stuck with me now, snoring bride." Maya launched herself at him, nearly knocking them both into the sand. The ring box almost flew out of Ethan's hands, but neither of them cared. They were too busy laughing, kissing, and letting the waves crash around them, sealing a promise that had never needed words to begin with. The wedding, beach style. A few days later, Maya and Ethan got married. Not in some fancy ballroom, not in the luxurious coral reef restaurant Rosa had painstakingly booked. Nope, they had a beach wedding, their way, wild, messy, and perfect. Maya wore a plain white tee and denim shorts, her hair tied up in a high ponytail, whipping in the salty breeze. Ethan rocked a ripped surf shirt, old board shorts, and $2 flip-flops, which, according to him, was dressed up. Instead of flowers, they decorated with surfboards. Instead of champagne, they had beer coolers. And instead of a stuffy guest list, their wedding was attended by a bunch of tourists, people who had once witnessed them fall off a boat together and now somehow had front row seats to this. But the biggest surprise came when Victor Langston himself showed up. Yes, Victor. Maya nearly choked on her beer when she saw him. "Ethan?" He just smirked. Victor strolled over, still wearing his ridiculously crisp white suit, but this time with a beer in hand instead of his usual overpriced wine. "Well," he drawled, giving Ethan a once-over, "I should be the one standing up there. You two had this planned, didn't you?" Ethan grinned, slinging an arm around Maya. "Nah, Vic, you just lost because I have better beer than your yacht." Maya cackled, raising her bottle. "And because you don't know how to snore under the moonlight, Victor, now shut up and toast with us." Victor shook his head, chuckling. "Careful, Caldwell. If she snores too loud, I might steal her back just to get my contract back." Maya rolled her eyes. "Nice try, Langston, but I think I'll keep my crazy husband." The three of them clinked their beers together, laughter mixing with the sound of crashing waves. And under the golden sunset of Santa Cruz, Ethan and Maya sealed their forever, not with contracts, not with expectations, but with love, beer, and a whole lot of laughter. From the sidelines, Rosa stood clutching her chest, utterly scandalized by the bizarre wedding unfolding before her. "No flowers? No cake? No wedding dress?" she muttered to Lucy, Maya's best friend, who stood beside her, sipping a beer. "I at least expected a cake," Rosa huffed. Lucy burst out laughing. "Rosa, it's Maya. Beer instead of cake, waves instead of flowers. This is perfect for them." Rosa looked like she was about to argue, but then she saw her daughter, barefoot, hair whipping in the wind, laughing as she dragged Ethan into the waves. Pure joy radiated from her. Rosa sighed. Then finally she smiled. "Fine," she murmured, "as long as she's happy." Then shaking a finger at Ethan, she added, "But when they have kids, I'm demanding a proper baby shower." Victor, overhearing this, smirked. "Exactly, Rosa. I'll even sponsor a yacht as a belated wedding gift. Just don't let Maya drive it. She'll sink the thing." Maya narrowed her eyes at him. "Keep talking, Langston, and I'll make sure you go down first." The wedding erupted into cheers and laughter, the beach filled with applause from tourists and friends alike. Lucy raised her beer in the air. "To the wild queen of Santa Cruz and her surfing husband." Ethan lifted his bottle high. "Thanks, everyone. I can't promise her a yacht, but I promise her the whole ocean." Maya snatched the beer from his hand, took a long swig, and pulled him into a kiss as the crowd whooped and clapped. No vows filled with poetic nonsense, just a simple, honest exchange. "I, Maya Torres, take you, because you make me laugh." Ethan grinned. "I, Ethan Caldwell, take you, because you make me live." They clinked bottles, beer splashing onto the sand. And that was it. A wedding with no glitz or glamour, but one overflowing with love. 1 year later, Santa Cruz remained as lively as ever, but now it had a new attraction. Torres and Caldwell Adventures, a business Maya and Ethan built together, blending Ethan's tech innovation with Maya's ocean expertise. Visitors no longer just booked ordinary tours. They went midnight surfing under the stars. They watched whales at sunrise, and they listened to Maya, now an official legend of Santa Cruz, as she entertained them with stories of love, laughter, and the time she tried to escape her wedding by flying to Hawaii. Thanks to their success, Rosa's small family business thrived. Her little brother got into his dream engineering school, and, for the first time in years, Rosa stopped worrying about money. Instead, she now had one new concern. When are you two giving me grandkids? 3 years later. One breezy afternoon, as the golden light spilled onto the Santa Cruz shore, Maya and Ethan stood side by side, watching their 3-year-old son sprint across the sand. Luca, with his father's messy curls and his mother's mischievous smile, was chasing a miniature surfboard, one Ethan had carved just for him. The tiny board wobbled, tilting with the tide before Luca face-planted straight into the sand. Instead of crying, he giggled uncontrollably before shouting, "Dad, push me again!" Ethan jogged over, crouching beside their son, and gave the board a firm push. Luca went gliding for 3 whole feet before toppling over again, rolling in the sand, laughing. Maya stood back, arms crossed, smirking. "He's definitely your son, obsessed with surfing." Ethan returned, wrapping an arm around her. "Yeah? And he's definitely yours. Wild, fearless, and completely reckless." Maya grinned, leaning up to kiss his cheek. "And you, my dear husband, somehow make me love you more every single day." Ethan turned to her, his gaze warm, his voice softer than the waves. "Who do you think Luca takes after more? Me or you?" Maya winked. "Both. Wild like me, crazy like you. The perfect combination of the wild queen and her insane surfer." They both laughed. Just then, Luca came barreling into them, wrapping his little arms around their legs and knocking them both over. The 3 of them collapsed into the sand, tangled in a heap of kicks, giggles, and love. Lying on his back, Ethan gazed at the endless blue sky and whispered, "My drunk bride, do you regret any of this?" Maya, still breathless from laughter, curled into his side. "Regret what? Having freedom? The ocean? You and this little troublemaker?" She reached over and ruffled Luca's hair as he beamed at them, kicking sand into Ethan's face. Maya smirked. "Nah, the craziest man on this beach gave me the whole world." Ethan chuckled, pulling them both close, kissing the top of her head. As the sun set, the waves kept rolling. Witnesses to a love story that had started with a drunken plan, survived a ridiculous amount of arguments, and ended with happiness in its purest, wildest form. Luca suddenly wriggled free, grabbing his tiny surfboard. "Let's go again!" he cheered. Maya and Ethan exchanged a knowing look. Then hand in hand, they ran toward the waves, laughing, living, loving. Because sometimes the best kind of love isn't planned. It just crashes into you like a perfect wave. Thank you for following this heartfelt Story of Soul Stories channel. Share your thoughts about the story in the comments below. If you believe that true love can withstand all trials and sometimes begins in the simplest of ways, don't forget to hit the like button and share this story with your friends. To never miss out on touching and meaningful stories, subscribe to our channel and help us spread messages of love and warmth to everyone. Let's cherish the beautiful moments of life and love together.